Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast, episode 1, 2, 3, 123. Kieran's looking at me. Are you just annoyed that I done the intro like that?
No, I'm not. We missed a trick and you saying 1, I go 2.
Oh, we did.
Every day we just turn off.
I've been very American when it was like a Saturday Night Live skit or something. Hello though, welcome back. As you can see, all three of us with a huge smile on our faces. I never thought we'd see the day where the Celtic the Thunder would be reporting on 2 Champions League wins in one campaign. Alas, we're here. We're going to talk all about it. We're also previewing the big game on Sunday against Kilmarnock before the international break. So don't worry, as much as we look in the past, we'll also be looking into the future. And joining me on that escapade today, starting to the left-hand side of me, will be Mr. Kieran Auld. Kieran, how are you?
I know bad. I mean, feel weird having missed one because I had a perfect attendance
this
up
season,
until the last episode, but no, I'm well rested and ready to go again, you know. My mini retirement is Gary Neville.
Well, do you know what? It was a good omen, apparently, because you being off the show.
If I just don't come back on this season, we'll go invincible.
Finish top of the Champions League, win the cup. We're going to get all your opinions about the game also through the episode, of course, but I'm going to get it done and out the way right now to save the people waiting for the end. You didn't have a kebab pie on Tuesday?
No, and I think it was Adam asked me, and I was like, I'm going to need to break some hearts at the end. But I mean, they were plentiful up in their section. I've seen his comment he left on Twitter saying that they ran out.
Aye.
Are these pies went mainstream now and Celtic can't keep up with the demand?
We have marketed the kebab pie into its popularity.
I'm going to put that on my CV.
I did have a kebab pie on Tuesday, which I'm also factoring into Celtic's successes. I think that was part of the reason. I wouldn't normally bother with one on a midweek game. Usually I had my dinner, but I felt like a fat dick. So I got a pie on top of my dinner and it worked out well. But Kieran did let the side down.
I know. I did have my dinner, to be fair. Now, after a weekend of eating and drinking and just everything else I'm at, the body needs a wee bye the night.
Fair enough. I'll let you away with it. And to the left of Kieran, we have our other co-host this evening. It's Mr. Dylan Murdoch. Dylan, how you doing?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. What a result of the weekend, and then right into the Champions League with a 3-1 winning against Leipzig. Life is good.
Life is so good. I mean, it's that good that I forgot we beat Aberdeen 6-0 until you said it. I mean, before we get into talking about the performances and all the rest of it, it's just a great feeling. Brendan Rodgers is living life, the squad's living life, the fans are living life. This just feels like one of the best Octobers that we've had, I think. When you talk about a start to a season, we're so euphoric, Dylan.
I'm starting to get worried that it's that good. It's like, it just feels too good to be true. But hopefully we keep it up. Like, the hard fixtures, day 2 hard fixtures, everybody was worried about. Well, I was certainly worried about anyway. It was out the way. So going to Killie and then another international break, of course. So if we get the 3 points against Killie, it's just been a perfect period.
It's so funny, isn't it? Because you said on the last episode how nervous you were. You were certainly the most nervous out of me, Calum, and yourself for the semi-final, and then bang, 6-0.
We talked about the kebab pie, Kieran, as well. I didn't have a kebab pie. I was that nervous for the game, so I let the side down as well due to nerves. But Celtic, man, unbelievable performances.
Well, we're going to talk about them. We're going to get into all the performances. Don't worry. We've got a bumper show for you tonight. We've got quizzes. A quiz, I'm not sure, I need to check. We've got the Q&A segment. If you're listening on Spotify, once again, please head up. What are we on now on Spotify? Anybody checked? With 5-star ratings.
I actually checked it was 100 and something.
We're on 131. So let's push it over to 150 today on this episode, go over, rate us 5 stars on Spotify, just search for the Celtic and the Thunder. It's another avenue for you to listen to the podcast. If you're out a run, listen to us on Spotify. What you laughing at? Fans
Just listening to a fucking any podcast, but this podcast when you're out a run.
Talk about kebab pies.
I know, fuck this, I'm going.
We are the motivator, trust me. Run faster. Anyway, God,
They've turned it off. Like,
we better start talking about Sellik before people think they're here for just kebab pies. Let's just get Leipzig done and out the way, because we would be rude not to talk about how good Tuesday night was, both from a footballing point of view, an atmospheric point of view. Everything just came together nicely on Tuesday, Kieran. Celtic win 3-1 in the Champions League. People are already making the case and the argument that this might just be Celtic's greatest performance in the, let's just call it the group stages of the competition. People have started comparing it to Barcelona, and people asked me in my stream last night, was that better than Barcelona? I think from a result point of view, probably not, but for a performance point of view, you could certainly make that case.
I know, I think just hearing that initially, I was like, right, let's roll it back a wee bit here, but I do understand the thing, performance-wise, I've never seen us play that well before in Champions League group stages, so I can understand that viewpoint. It's quite an outlandish thing to say, to be fair, but you couldn't really fault anybody on Tuesday night. To be able to come back as well, because watching that game, when we went 1-0 down, you seen the usual things start to creep in, the not being able to string 2 passes together sort of thing. People kind of looking a wee bit lost on the pitch and a bit frightened and maybe shell-shocked for conceding in such a fashion, because we started the game really well. We let them into it, and it felt, I was like, this is going to be typical Celtic in Europe, conceding for a corner. I was like, oh God, here we go. Especially it was backs to the wall for 10 minutes. Then fair play to the players, because they dug deep and it was a moment of individual magic that sort of spurred us on again. I mean, great setup for Engels to even create the opportunity for Kuhn to get through there. But I was actually talking about this in work the day about how good that goal was. It's like, is it one of the best ones you've ever seen in person? Is it the best?
It was funny because a couple of weeks ago you were talking about the Scott Sinclair goal and how
everybody
it
think it was
deceived
gone
you. Didn't everybody
but this one everybody thought was
gone miles wide,
gone right into the standing section.
Obviously we sit beside each other, and you know from sitting there, I kind of, as soon as it left his foot, my first reaction was, and I never even got to finish the sentence, because bang, it's clipped the post and went in. And I only, for the first, believe it or not, it was only yesterday I watched the highlights of the game for the first time, and it is unbelievable. It's like it's hanging in the air or something. It's crazy. It is individual brilliance, as you said.
But I mean, that in itself spurred us on. I think that gave everybody the boost that we needed, and it was shown in how good we were in the press for that second goal, because I don't want to say Leipzig looked frightened at it, because they're obviously a team that's used to coming up against this sort of press, but maybe not to that level and commitment, because I think we also spoke about the fact that goal probably came for the fact that we did really go for it, because there was only a minute left to go until half time, so the players sort of went gung-ho, and it was just perfect, and Hatate done so well, even took the piss with a no-look pass through, and then Kuhn gets himself in the end of it. But I mean, I'm sure we'll go into talk about Kuhn a lot more depth, to be fair, because he's somebody that's stepped up so far this season, but even more so in the past week or so.
Yeah, Dylan, Kieran done a good job at bringing up the kind of opening half an hour of the game, where Celtic had a bit of a mixed opening half hour, I would say. I thought first 15-20 minutes we looked good, we looked comfortable, but then we sort of, pardon my French, shat ourselves a wee bit, just to put it bluntly. Leipzig went on the front foot, they ended up finding their goal, and I think that's a real testament to how well Celtic done on Tuesday night, because normally Celtic would go a goal behind in a game like that and things would just unravel and goes from bad to worse, and maybe we got a bit lucky because Leipzig missed a header very narrowly to make it 2-0, but we end up firing back and not only equalising, not only scoring a second, scoring a third and dominating the rest of the game. So it shows you how far this team has come from the tie against Dortmund, for example.
Yeah, 100%. As Kieran says, after 1-0, it was a bit frustrating because of how good we started the game. And I said, obviously, after they scored the corner, typical set piece in Europe, but they almost scored again. But as you said, sometimes you need to ride your luck in the Champions League. You're not going to dominate all these games for the full 90 minutes, but rid your bit of luck, not going 2-0 down, and then ever since the equaliser, it was just Celtic in control. Really, we didn't really look back, and then you'd have probably took a one each going into half time, but even better going in 2-1. But it could have worked both ways. I was a wee bit worried that we might go into the break like just basically gutted in case Leipzig come back into it. But no, it was 100% a great first half, and then second half even better.
Nicholas Kuhn. I mean, what's your assessment of him? 2 goals in the first half. I mean, people were talking about maybe him being Celtic's first ever £40 million player. He certainly played like it on Tuesday.
Honestly, like, is it time to start comparing to Jota yet? Like, honestly,
that seems to be a big question at the minute.
It's like, I'm worried to do it, but it's just, honestly, man, how can you know after that performance and the way he started the season? Just unbelievable. 2 great goals, and just hopefully it continues.
Is it premature for that conversation?
I mean, you could make the argument, but he's returned so far this season. We're only just into November, and it's already pretty impressive. He's gearing up for a brilliant season, and I don't think many people would have expected it after the start to life he had at Celtic. Obviously, we've spoken about it before, all the things that happened, and him dropping a lot of weight when he came to the club and just not being at 100%. But even then, he was still getting the odd goal when he was given the chance. But I think in pre-season we've seen a lot of, like the way we played in pre-season, but I think the whole takeaway going into it was Kuhn looked unreal against the likes of City. So could he carry that forward? And he's not really looked back since the start of the season, and it's great to have that again, because last season as well you had Palma and like a sort of interchange of wingers, and you were thinking none of this is quite clicking. But see, we're talking about the comparisons to Jota. Now we've got the winger again that we can lean on and rely on putting up the numbers, because that's what we always spoke about when Jota left, is who's going to replace X amount of goals and assists a season, and we seem to have found it in Nicholas Kuhn.
It's huge, because I think maybe for, especially not so much the last few weeks, but I think the opening few weeks of the season there was a bit of a reservation amongst Celtic fans that is this maybe just a purple patch, or is it a fluke that he's putting up these numbers, that he's coming away with these performances? Because there was a couple of games where he maybe did dip, and we've seen the Nicholas Kuhn of January, February, March, April last year, or this year I should say. But it's the fact that we're now in November and it's not gone anywhere, and it doesn't look like it will go anywhere, and hopefully he doesn't go anywhere anytime soon either. But he's been unbelievable to watch, and that goal is I'll not forget that anytime soon. That's going to be one of the ones I think we'll all talk about for a while.
I've seen people as well. Do you think it was obviously he meant it? Because like, I think he meant it, but I've seen people talking on the radio and that it was a cross, but it's I don't know.
If that's
I don't know. See, just the way it's weighted. I could see watching the highlights back. It was why the angles, the way it's hit. See, because it's not got like a lot of power on it. It's as if it was a sort of floated ball that's curled,
slow motion,
like, because it was hanging in there for ages. So I can see why people are saying it. Only he knows, and even if it was a cross, he's not going to admit it. So
listen, if it was a cross and it's ended up in the back of the net,
keep crossing like
keep
that.
crossing that.
Who cares, to be fair?
Who cares? You know, if that's your main concern to the people who are making these points, if that's your main concern after a goal like that and a result like that, then grow up.
I never really thought about it until people said that. I was like, but
I can see where the way that Kieran's described it, I can see where they're coming from. But when I watch back the highlight, to me it looks like a man who's ready to shoot. He's opened up the opportunity. He's opened an opportunity for himself to shoot. So I don't see why he would do all that to then cross the ball.
I know.
For that position as well.
It's not we've got players in the box that are mega tall to be getting your head on that.
Yep. But he wasn't the only person who took plaudits from the game on Tuesday. Rio Hatate, who had one of his best performances of the season so far. A performance that we've maybe been waiting on, Dylan, this year. I've never doubted him for a minute, and I've been a real backer of Rio Hatate through the opening periods of this season, where people have been like, oh, he's down tools, or he's not good enough, or his attitude stinks, or he's not that great. All those kind of opinions that a minority have tried to push. Tuesday put all of that to bed, because he put out one of his best performances in a Celtic shirt so far.
Oh, definitely. I think for me it was just see some of the things he did in that game was just brilliant. The build up to the second goal, the way you just seen the vision to see Greg Taylor. You don't see many players that would just make that pass. It was like, as well, similar to the cup final against Rangers, the way he just finds Kyogo.
by the way. 1-0 Olympiacos, just wanted
You
to
love
say.
to see it.
Sorry, Dylan. Sorry,
No,
Kieran.
sorry, but aye. And then even these minded see the nutmeg in the second half. I can't stop watching it. Like, I just wish we buried that chance. Kyogo was unlucky. It was a good defending in the end, but Rio Hatate was just outstanding in that game. I think shout out to Calum McGregor as well. Don't think he's getting as much talk to Hatate, which is fair enough.
I
But
agree.
Calum McGregor, just a true captain's performance. I just don't even think he did much wrong. He was just in control of the game. Even the build up to the third, when it feels like there's nobody about him, he just composure. And then finds it back to the defence, and then just some of the football was just some of the best I've seen anyway at Celtic Park.
That's why, once it's hard to fault any of the players that were on the park, really. I'm glad Dylan brought up Cal McGregor. He deserves credit. The midfield were. What do you make of the Engels stuff, Kieran? It seems there's a bit of debate online just now about his performance on Tuesday. But what do you think?
I think it's wholly unmerited, and I'm not going to sit and pretend he was one of the star men on the pitch, wasn't he? But I think it's all feeling a wee bit forced for me. I feel people
agree.
have sort of made their bed of being in this camp. We spent this money on him, so it has to be a 10 out of 10 every week. And this is a thing we've spoke about time and time again on this podcast about fuck being the first record, the player that comes in for a record fee, because the shite they're going to have to put up with so many people in the support is going to be ridiculous. And it's been proven right with this, because obviously I had a great start to life at Celtic Engels, and maybe the form's dipped to it a bit, but I just don't get the looking for a negative after a performance like that, because I don't think it was deserved in the slightest. It wasn't stinking the place up. And as I already brought up earlier, that wee flick through for Nicholas Kuhn in the lead up to the goal, he's credited with the assist for that goal. Granted, it's maybe a bit of a cheek after the effort that Kuhn put into the goal itself, but it frustrates me quite a bit. But I mean, he obviously had McGregor, who's Dylan said the composure was unreal, because you need that sort of calming presence in the middle when you're coming up against these European teams that are just so well drilled and technically good in the ball. You need that ability to play that pass through the lines, and I think everybody was up to it. And just on Hatate as well, that performance is the thing I've waxed lyrical about for ages about Rio Hatate. Him being one of the players in the squad that I've always thought looks comfortable at that level. I mean, he looks like he belongs at that standard of football, and I think that it was shown on Tuesday night. And that wee nutmeg, as you were talking about, I think I've watched it back about 1 million times as well. It's just filth.
The passing in the game, some of the passes individually were just absolutely brilliant.
See that Kuhn one, man, that Maida done it, but like, oh my god, just
It's a gutter that he missed. It's just so Dyson Maida, though,
so
isn't it?
on brand.
Aye,
So on
scored a hat trick at the weekend. Flops that out of the bar like it's fucking.
Ewan Maida.
Aye, he's only one. But the Engels stuff, yeah, I'm in 100% agreement with you, Kieran. And I know sometimes people always go in the comments like, you just agree with each other. And I think it's because we're similarly minded Celtic supporters. And that stretches across probably yourself, Dylan, who's newer to the podcast as well. One of the reasons why we brought you on, because I feel like we are that kind of similar minded in the sense we're not going to bury a player after 10 games or 15 games.
I'll get to 16 then it's fucking off. But
It's that way as well. See the
I thought he was alright.
some of the passes he took, they were hard passes, right?
Aye.
And they flicks Kieran was talking about, that's him creating the space for the pass that
Exactly.
he's produced as well. So, and it's the only thing you can say is maybe that wee spell after the goal, but everybody was kind of having a bit of a mess.
Whole
so
team was awful.
even Hatate was the one was it kicked out for a throw in under
Yeah,
pressure.
aye,
and
because
that
I
was-
lost I got out
Aye.
my seat screaming at Hatai.
I was raging.
I was like, he's fucking dead.
But aye.
Get time. But you're right. Like, even these wee flicks that open up a bit of space, these are the things that people will just gloss over as if they've not happened to highlight a negative. And an £11 million player needs to be able to do these wee things. That's the reason you spend the money. Nonetheless, we are where we are. The whole team was great. Trusty got a lot of praise. Vickers got a lot of praise. God, I
think
could be here all day.
Schmeichel as well made a couple of massive
huge
saves in that
saves
game.
in the game.
See if where I sit, I actually thought it was in, but see when you just like the way it was his, he just put his horn out. It's actually such a good save. Like it doesn't, because obviously the way the game went for how good Celtic were, but Schmeichel was brilliant as well. What he had today.
It's a great keeper. I mean, there was somebody when he signed. I was more happy than nervous, but there obviously was that initial instinct of like, we've replaced somebody, Joe Hart, with an older player, and how's that going to go? And he's came in and he's arguably better than Joe Hart. It's nuts to think about.
Good birthday for him as well.
Exactly. Another year older, but he's still just as good. Crazy. What a game. I think we could be here all week talking about it, but we do need to talk about the future. We are big picture guys. We've always made that our brand here. We're the big picture guys in the Celtic podcast in the world. In terms of the big picture, it means that Celtic currently sit 15th in the Champions League table. We're above teams like Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, AC Milan, Bayern, I think, are another one. Celtic have 4 games left against Club Brugge, against Dinamo Zagreb, Young Boys, and Aston Villa. 3 of those games are 3 of the ones that we looked at as winnable. Now, we can't just start looking 4 games ahead because it's a game at a time sort of situation. But in terms of the big picture, the position we've left ourselves in, Kieran, in terms of qualification to any extent, whether that's top 8 or 24, Celtic have left themselves in a very good position down to the hard work thus far.
I mean, that if we were to talk, I mean, I'm sure we did talk about it before the first game kicked off, and I can't really remember, but about if we were to say how many points would you have taken after 4 games, if it was to be, if somebody said 7, you would have bit the hand after it. I mean, granted, you would probably prefer not to have been scudded in the 4 games the way we were in Dortmund, but we've more than made up for it the last 2 performances against Atalanta, go and be that resolute defensively and come away from a very tough place with a 0-0 draw and a point in the board, and then to further back that up by beating Leipzig, who are second in the Bundesliga.
Yep.
They've been playing really well this season. Well, not in the Champions League, but domestically.
Yes.
Like, they've not been quite as good as ourselves.
Do you know what's nuts? Just to, sorry, cut you off. Leipzig have conceded 5 goals domestically all season. And, well, in the league, I don't know about the cup. I couldn't tell you the Pokal results. But in the league, they've conceded. We scored 3 at them on Tuesday. They've conceded 5 in the league.
That's mental.
Aye, crazy. But
All 3 goals were absolutely brilliant.
Aye.
Every single one.
Aye.
But nah, I think just looking ahead, but we've left ourselves in a very good position. But I hope to God that, I mean, we have turned a corner with the sort of playing these Champions League games at home and the weight of expectation sort of thing. Because I was kind of hoping we got that monkey off our back when it came to Bratislava, but obviously they weren't very good, to be fair, to put it politely.
Polite, that's very polite, in fact.
But like, it's how we deal with the expectation having to win against Club Brugge, who's a team that they're no mugs. They just beat Villa the other night when this comes out. I mean, obviously under a bit precarious circumstances with the penalty, but like, they're a team that you can't take lightly, and I hope Rodgers won't let the players take it lightly, but I just hope us as a support don't get too carried away with thinking we're going to absolutely scud them, because we scudded Leipzig pretty convincingly. Football at this level just doesn't work like that. This team, Bruges, are going to be coming to Celtic Park needing to win to try and keep their hopes alive. But you've got nothing but confidence in this team now. Like, the way we're playing, you fancy us against anybody at Celtic Park. But gone ahead, realistically, expectation-wise, last 4 games, how many points do you think we need to get through? And then how many points do you reckon?
It's looking like, well, it looks like we need 3 points for
3?
top 24.
Do you think that would be enough?
I think so. I think it, apparently it is. It is going to be possible with 3 more points.
And then if we get the 3 points, we've got Zagreb away.
Listen, top 8 is not out the question. That's nuts. Top 8 is possible for Celtic.
See,
do you know what's been funny? No, go on, create your point.
No, it's a lot of people, like, we've been talking about, or maybe Villa will be fucking clear by the time. That result last night kind of throws a sticky wicket into that plan. And also looking ahead to their games, they've not got an easy run in. Granted, they have beat Bayern Munich and such, but they've got Juventus to play. Pretty sure they've got Monaco away.
Tough. Stade Liédois.
Obviously us in the last game, but who's the other one?
Celtic.
I mean, obviously. That's the toughest of all.
I don't know, I couldn't tell you that one.
It's a hard run of games, so I've seen a lot of people saying, maybe they'll be qualified top 8, they'll field the second string team, but I'm like, the way things are shaping up, I think it could come down to that game. But hopefully one game at a time, get the games at Celtic Park won, go to Zagreb, get a respectable draw if need be, and then go for it in the last game.
it's just why they hang still in it. We don't want to do the typical Celtic beat Leipzig and then go on and lose the games, which are arguably, with no disrespect to Bruges nor young boys who are coming to Celtic Park, but they're two games that you would expect to win over Leipzig. You don't want to bottle it.
When we were sitting talking about it in the podcast, it was like it's not an easy game to come to after the Dortmund games, the Atlanta and your Leipzigs, but obviously still respect these teams, but to be fair, this is the easier games in Leipzig and Atlanta, so you just hope Celtic don't do used to be Celtic in Europe and bottle these games, but this Celtic team now just isn't like they're looking back, and just I hope they keep it up, and then helps that it's a home game again with the fans behind us, and there's honestly no reason, like if you win the 3 games going into Villa, or even like 2 wins and a draw, you're just in such a good position to maybe even somehow, as you said, get a top 8. But you definitely take your playoffs at least as well.
Of course.
It's just looking good so far, so I just hope it stays like that.
No real luck would get Real Madrid in the next round.
I know,
right enough.
definitely.
That's how it's going to go.
They're struggling now as well.
Aye. But then they're shite, so you never know. You might get something. It's funny, just before we move on to half time and all the rest of it here, it's funny seeing all the, particularly Arsenal fans, it seems to be, who are raging about the new format and calling it shite and all the rest of it. It's brilliant. I love seeing the big teams suffer. They can't handle that the top 8's got teams like Sporting Lisbon in it and teams like Brest fighting for a chance. And they're so fucking paranoid of not being looked at as number 1. I think it's hilarious.
I know. I mean, it's nice to see, to be fair, but I think they just don't like the fact that they're having to play teams that they otherwise would have avoided until the later stages of the tournament. Realistically, after the playoff round, and that's it, the way the quarterfinals are going to look the exact same as they always do for the most part. Maybe one team sneaks through, but...
And here's my message to Arsenal fans or whoever else is moaning about the new format. It's the fucking Champions League. You're entering Europe's premier competition. You're entering the competition where you're supposed to be playing the best, and to be the best, you've got to beat the best. I believe it was Ric Flair who famously said that, just to get it right. You can't greet when you're playing in Inter Milan, and because they've suddenly beat you, I want to play them at the Emirates now to get revenge. Tough titty, move on to your next game. You're playing 8 different games. It's just like PSG going to the Emirates and not getting a chance of redemption at the park, whatever stadium they play in. It's such self-entitlement from them as usual, the English supporters, because they can't handle not fucking winning. It's the Champions League. If I had it my way, Arsenal wouldn't be in the fucking competition because they're not champions. Last time they won a trophy was during COVID, and it was the fucking FA Cup. So
is that way as well? I'm not just saying it because we're doing good, but it feels refreshing.
It is, of course.
Just to play all these different teams and just get an extra home game, an extra away game, and it's been really refreshing this season.
I just don't understand their state of thinking. Like, Inter have beat us tonight, I want them back at the Emirates. Why?
It works both ways, as you said. Like the teams that Arsenal beat will want that feeling as well. So
I don't even understand why you want to play them twice. Would you not rather play a team who haven't beat you? I just don't understand this.
Dortmund pumped us 7-1. I'm so glad they never came to Celtic Park.
And I guess that's obviously us from our point of view, because we are Celtic. We're a wee team in regards to the modern context of football. Of course, we're a huge club, but and when it comes to results, and we can't really get them against these big teams, we don't need to play them twice. Maybe that's just our side of the coin, looking at it quite selfishly. But I'd much rather play different teams, on 8 different occasions than just the same 3 teams that you're going to struggle against.
I think it was the perfect freshening up that the competition needed, to be honest. Because at the time I wasn't really thinking it was going to stay, but now that you see what it can be, it makes you look back and think about previous group stages and it would have been so much better having a format like this. And I think on the whole, I think once the sort of league phase is done, it will be sort of forgotten about until next year, when the same arguments will come up again. Probably for Arsenal fans again, but
the worst fans. The worst fans.
I genuinely pure don't like the Arsenal fan base. I didn't think I cared until when they were let in a title race with City, and then the fans started getting pure big, too big for their boots.
Why do you think they've got fucking Arteta, a greeting faced manager, for some greeting faced fans? Simple as that. Anyway, half time.
Wait, the Arsenal.
Bring it in, lads, bring it.
Promote Arsenal.
do we have a half-time
Lucky
quiz?
I've not got
We do have a half-time quiz. I have got a half-time quiz, which is here for us. Now, the question is, do you remember how to play this version of the half-time quiz? Because we've only done it once, and it was a long time ago.
Tell me what it is.
It's the one with the alphabet. So, there's 2 sets of questions. So then there's 2 minutes. and somebody goes and we see what letter you can get to.
I hosted it the last time. as well.
So now I'm hosting it, and I've got to get I need to get right. You need to get your phone out as a clock because I need to have a clock there beside me. Right. So halftime quiz today. I don't think we ever came up with a name for this one.
It was called like. I remember I got it off TikTok and it was like Football Rondo or something.
Okay, right. So basically, Dylan, I don't know if you watched the episode at the time, but essentially we have an alphabet between A and Z. Breaking news.
Every day.
If you could do me a favour, right? Could you silence your phone because when it vibrates, it sends an. I got pulled up big time in the last
hitting the table.
I got pulled up big time.
I know. Like, I wasn't really watching it, but I was like, "You banging the?"
Like I'm fucking. I was going to use the other one with a funny moustache, but I'm him sitting banging the table. I didn't think it was that bad, but anyway, we have an alphabet A to Z, 2 sets of questions. 2 minutes will be on the clock, and between that 2 minute time, you need to see how far you can get through the alphabet. So I'll ask you a question for talking sake. Which Danish side beat Celtic in the Champions League in 2009? The answer is Aalborg. You need to try and give them as fast as possible. Then I'll move on to the next question. What Celtic centre half was sent off in the final of the UEFA Cup? Bobo Baldi. C. What is the name of the club we support? Celtic. And you've got to try and get through as many as you can before your time is up. And then we'll see who gets
what's the rule with skips again?
So you can skip. But it's meant. So I think that. How does your lap work? What does that do? No, it doesn't do anything. So the last time we played it, I just skipped and then we
like you move on to like you still move on to the next one, but I think at the end, I think the skips are meant to add like time onto your score or something.
So I need to jot down skips.
Aye,
I could do that by pressing lap, couldn't I? Like there's a skip, there's a skip, there's a skip. Don't count the first one because
we do it one at a time.
We do it one at a time.
Aye.
So, Dylan, last week when we done our quizzes, who won the quizzes? You smashed it.
Sorry, I done the tenable and then
you get to choose. Would you like to say A or B here?
A.
Oh, so you're going first. You're setting yourself up here. So remember,
anyway.
if you want to pass, you can pass, and we'll just add it on via the laptop.
Then Kieran goes on to B. I go C.
No, we'll just when you say pass. So if you, for example, if you passed on B, I'll just go straight to your C.
Right.
So are you ready to go?
I think so, right?
God Almighty, I don't worry. But Kieran, could you actually take charge of this for me for this just now? Right, your time starts now. Dortmund striker who scored a hat-trick against Celtic. City, where our next Champions League opponents hail from.
Sorry, say that again.
City, where our next Champions League opponents hail from. Where are they from? Next team we play in the Champions League. Begins with a B.
Belgium.
Right, we'll go on to the next one. English team Celtic women play next in the Champions League. Women's,
Chelsea.
Correct. D. Super sub striker from English team we play in the Champions League.
Striker.
D. Plays for Aston Villa.
Pass.
Nation of the team that Nomi Kalju we defeated in 2020 or 2019 are from. E.
Pass.
Team we played in the Champions League last year, beginning with F.
Feyenoord.
Correct. Hat-trick hero from the Champions League for Sporting Lisbon, begins with a G.
I don't know how to say it. Go Gyökeres.
I'll give you Gyökeres. Team that Hearts will play tonight in the Euro Conference League, beginning with a H.
I just heard it in the radio there. It's like higher, so I don't know how to say it. Pass.
We'll come back to it. Nation Calum McGregor made his Euro Celtic debut against. It begins with an I.
Iceland?
Yes, correct. Complete the name. Alistair.
Johnston.
Correct. K. Copenhagen in the Conference League will have played 2 Scottish sides, Hearts and...
Killie.
Correct. Italian team at the top of the Europa League, beginning with L.
Italian team at the top of the Europa League. Lazio.
Correct. M. City where Celtic player... No, sorry. City where Celtic played in the 1970 European Cup final.
What the hell are we on, sorry?
M.
Munich.
No. Nation. N. Nation of team who defeated defeated us in the 1970 European Cup final.
N.
Yes.
Pass.
Iconic African legend of PSG in Bolton.
Pass.
P. Complete the lyric of... I started, so I'll finish. This is for 8 correct. Dylan, take your time. P. Complete the lyric of this Celtic song. Well, the referee, he came from...
My mind just had a blank, man. Portugal.
Right, so I'll go through yours so far. You ended with 7, I believe. So 7 correct. Got Adeyemi, of course. City where our next Champions League opponents hail from. You said Belgium.
Oh, Brussels.
Bruges.
Bruges.
Bruges is the answer. I would have said Brussels in the panic, by the way. So I'm glad
Because
I
you're
know
trying to
that.
be so fast in it. Mm-hmm.
C, you got right. Celtic's women's team will play Chelsea next. D, the super striker from the English team, super sub striker from the English team is Duran of Aston Villa. E, the nation of Nomicalu, Estonia was the correct answer. You missed that one. Team we played last year, Feyenoord. Gyökeres, you got that right as well, of Sporting. Heidenheim is the team that Hearts.
I just held it now here, I know.
So I didn't know they were playing each other tonight. The nation that Calum McGregor made his debut against, Iceland, is where they were from. Alistair Johnson, you got that correct. Kilmarnock and Lazio, you got correct. The European Cup final in 1970 was played in Milan. We then have the nation of the team who defeated us in the final, Netherlands, Feyenoord who beat us in the final. O was Okocha, JG Okocha, PSG, and Bolton.
No, aye.
Aye. And then you got to P, and the referee, he came from Paraguay. It was for the World Cup final. World Cup, yes. Right. I'll take...
Pass. I wasn't really doing the lap thing there because you were counting how many...
Do you know what? I'll just keep an eye. Dylan, do you want to keep an eye on the time and just shout time when it hits 2 minutes, and I'll tell you, I'll do the whole thing for starting it. Right. 7 is the score to beat Kieran Auld. Are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, your time starts now. Belgium team defeated away from home 3-0. Correct. B, Portuguese team we lost to in Lennon's first Euro tie as manager.
Benfica.
No. C, surname of CBS coverage on UCL. It's one of the pundits' surname.
Carragher.
Correct. D, surname of winger nominated for the Champions League Player of the Week alongside Kuhn.
Pass.
E, city we played both Reykjavik and Legia Warsaw in under Ronnie Dyler.
Edinburgh.
Correct. F, team we played and drew with twice in the 2015-16 Europa League under Dyler.
Fenerbahce.
Correct. G, nation of opponents for Hearts tonight.
Germany.
Correct. H, goal scorer versus RB Leipzig on Tuesday.
Hatate.
Correct. I, name of striker for Celtic.
Ida.
Correct. J, Italian team who beat us in the last 16 of the 2013 Champions League.
Juventus.
Correct. K, man of the match against Leipzig.
Kuhn.
L, English team at the top of the Champions League.
Liverpool.
Correct. M, Swedish team that Mumford and Sons defeated in opening UEL game.
Malmo.
Correct. N, sorry, Adam made his squad number.
9.
Correct. O, UCL top scorer for Liverpool in 2019.
9 went blank, sorry, pass.
P, 2003 and 2004 winners of the the UEFA Cup and Champions. Correct. Q, name shared by Park and South.
Queen.
Yes. R, nation banned from UEFA competition.
Russia.
S, Celtic striker with goals versus Barca away in separate games for Celtic.
Samaras.
Yes. T, name shared by Lawrence Boyd and Rogic.
Tom.
Correct. U, nation of Celtic defensive pairing from
United States.
Correct. V, team Celtic lost in the 2004 run to the UEFA Cup quarterfinals.
Valencia.
No. And
Time.
I started, so I'll finish. Technically I did. Name of stadium where young boys play.
What was the letter?
W. You've done well, mate. You've done well.
I don't know that.
Wankdorf. That is
You done what?
Wankdorf. That is genuinely where young boys play. Wankdorf. Kieran, I lost count because you'd won. I think you might have got 14 or 15 there, which is
take that.
pretty good. The ones that you didn't manage to get, the
The Liverpool one, what was that?
Portuguese team for B, you said Benfica. Braga.
I
was
just
the
heard
correct
Portuguese team B as well.
D, player for the Player of the Week in the Champions League is Luis Diaz of Liverpool.
I've actually not watched any of the highlights for that.
You then went on a run where you got. I will say though, I do think you got the easier set.
no, I definitely
I
did,
think you got the much easier set, to be honest. Dylan, you just don't have a nail luck when it comes to.
B just
picking
takes me,
sets.
man.
You got Kuhn, you got Liverpool, you got Malmo, yes. You got 9. Oh, Liverpool's top scorer in 2019 for the Champions League, Divock Origi.
Oh, fuck.
Saturday night.
You got Porto, you got Queens, you got Russia, you got Samaras, you got Tom, you got United States, and then you got to the end, and what you missed was Villarreal there at the end for V.
What would Y and Z have been?
So X, Y, and Z.
Oh, okay.
X. So
X never gets the appreciation.
for you, we'd be here all day if I go through all the ones we didn't get to. So I'll just run through yours quickly. I'll give you the chance. Iconic player and former manager of Barca for X.
Xavi.
Correct. Y would have been word used in iconic Celtic and Liverpool anthem. Yes. And Z, iconic Italian attacker for Chelsea.
Zola.
I couldn't have argued with that, but it wasn't the answer that was done. It was Zico. But I mean, if you said Zola, I couldn't say no.
I had to take that to the board of arbitration.
So well done, Kieran. A good win. Both of you's done a tremendous effort from both of
That's
you.
quite a fun game to be.
That is fun. It is fun. It is really good. It's harder being the Brad. I don't know how Bradley Walsh does it in the final chase, by the way, because that's fucking tough. See, like, how many times do you think, on average, maybe in like a week's worth of filming, Bradley Walsh has to like go start again, new set of questions? Because surely that happens. Like, sometimes he just fucks it right up for somebody.
He's a seasoned pro by now,
Surely.
surely.
True, but it's bloody hell, it's tough. Anyway, that was that. Kilmarnock this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Rugby Park, a tricky venue historically for Celtic, historically for Brendan Rodgers as well. Even last season, Rugby Park proved not a happy hunting ground for the Brogue. I was in Tenerife the last time we were at Rugby Park. When we played them again, didn't we?
To win the league.
That's right, 6-0.
5.
Aye. This time though, we go there in a very healthy place, just like we did on that occasion as well. We were going in a very healthy place. Dylan, it's just about doing what we've been doing. You know, just take no prisoners, score goals, and work the plastic park.
As you said, it's the best place to be in, going to Rugby Park, because as you said last season, it was they put us at the cup win it, and then the 2-1. I think that was our first league defeat of the season. I can't remember.
It was the first or set of Hearts or them.
Hearts
It was
and Killie,
like
it was
consecutive
back to back,
weeks.
wasn't it?
Aye,
So
aye.
it's nice to go into Rugby Park this time in a much better place, where a squad that you know, like a full starting 11 that you know is going to be our best team in that. So I just continue on for Aberdeen and Leipzig. So some of the goals we've been scoring, some of the football we've been playing has been absolutely the best you've seen a long time, if not ever. So hopefully we can take that onto the plastic pitch and give Killie another 5-0. So I'll just close to that. As long as it's 3 points.
If we could score 5 again, I would be delighted, to say the least. Kieran, Kilmarnock have had a bit of a mixed season, ups and downs, but of course most recently famous for their victory against Rangers. A big win against them. So it shows that they still have beating the big teams in their arsenal, so there's definitely no game to sleep on.
No, it definitely is. Now, we can't go into any of these games underestimating, especially ones that have been difficult in the past. And granted, at the end of the season, we did scud them, but I feel like that's a sort of different vibe in that game compared to a game that's right in the thick of the season. It's I don't know, it feels different, and I feel the way we approach it always is different, but it shouldn't be. We should be going into it with the same mindset we have been going into these other games, and you've got the confidence in us. We've been playing really well. You hope there's no hints of a European hangover and such, like put everything into the game on Wednesday, but we were in control of that game on Tuesday, no Wednesday. But so you're hoping we can just keep it going after it's been hopefully cap half about 8 days of great football, if we could go and get a good result on Sunday to finish it off, because if to go 6-0 against Aberdeen and then 3-1 against Leipzig, hopefully we can just round it off. But I don't think there'll be much rotation in the squad. You think maybe a couple of changes, but I don't know if you really want to upset the flow of the team and how fluidly we've been playing.
Well, it's the last game before the international break, and it's very different from the last one, because we went into that international break, and I remember saying it, I think all of us were saying this international break's probably coming at a decent time, we maybe need it. The results were tailing off, the performances were tailing off a wee bit. Of course, it wasn't long after the Dortmund game as well. We really did need it at that time, whereas now we're playing our best football heading into this one. So it's night and day from the last international break. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Do you rotate? Do you bother with doing all that? I don't think there's a huge call for rotation.
I could see Alex Barley maybe starting.
I can see that.
I could fully see
Rumours
that
about
happening.
him going back to Barca.
And I've seen murmurs of that.
Hope there's nothing in it.
I know.
So even at that, he's got a release clause of £3.5 million. So Celtic could go, oh, fuck you. Alex Money here, son.
I know. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, because that would leave us pretty
Aye.
light. And I mean, Taylor, he is a good player, but I don't know. I feel bad criticising him after the way we've been playing this season and that, but I feel there's probably been reasons why Bally's been allowed the chance to get
Chose
back
the
in.
Cup final, stuff like that.
But I don't know. I think maybe see a wee bit of
Couple of players
rotation,
maybe.
but nothing to completely disrupt the way we've been playing.
Weird, because usually by this point, for the last so many years, we've been used to playing a couple of times on plastic by now, because you had Livingston in the league and Killie as well. Usually always comes a lot earlier than this. This is the first time a lot of players are going to be playing on these plastic surfaces. Well, for Celtic anyway. I couldn't tell you if Arne Engels has played in a plastic park somewhere before, but Arne Engels will be playing in plastic for the first time for Celtic. Kasper Schmeichel will be playing in plastic for the first time for Celtic. Alex Barley will be playing in plastic for the first time for Celtic. So I never like using that plastic park as an excuse, but we're well beyond that now. It's been years, we should be used to it. But it will be interesting to see, Dylan, if any of these players maybe have a wee bit of a shock in the park, because it has happened multiple times when you sign in.
And when I think this season, especially, we've actually been quite alright with the injuries and that, so hopefully that stays that way going into that international break. So, but that way as well, I'm like, when you're talking about the team, like, I thought against Leipzig, people came on for the bench were brilliant as well.
Same.
Like, we've been saying it a lot this season, the subs have came on and done their part, but what about Young, by the way, for that? Do you see that wee bit of passion playing, man? Maybe isn't it? Maybe it's time, isn't it?
It's not. I got asked in my live stream last night. Somebody said, "Well, Ryan, what you saying about Yang now?" And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to say, because how many times have we been here, not only with Yang, but with players like Mikey Johnston, who would come on and play well for 10, 15 minutes in a game. I was like, oh, they might be back. I'm like, if Yang can do that now over an extended period of time, of course there's a future there for him, but he needs to do that, you know. But I'll not take away from what he done. You're right.
See, even if he's not that, I just see that bit of play. I actually I celebrated. Oh, what is going on here? I was like, what is that? I came from, man. Just unbelievable football, man.
Derek McInnes, he's probably hoping for the double header win over both Sellik and Rangers. He's already harmed Rangers' chance of getting back in the title race, so we want to help him out a wee bit here at the weekend. Yeah, Celtic should be getting. Like, listen, I hate doing these previews for our league games.
I know.
Because what is there to say? We should be winning, especially at Kilmarnock, who've got 12 points this season. They're sitting 8th in the league. That's a side you've got to be beating at the end of the day, and there's no excuses.
I think it's just about no complacency creeping in, because we have been playing so well. But I mean, you've got the faith that Rodgers would never let anything like that ever come into the squad, and yeah, you just hope we can keep this going. Because if you contrast it to this time last season, the way we were playing, there was a lot of doubts surrounding the football we were playing under Rodgers at the beginning of last season. Granted, the team wasn't fully up to scratch. We were struggling with injuries. We really just hadn't quite hit our groove yet, and I feel like that's such a stark difference to this season, where we've been virtually unplayable for the most part. Obviously, we spoke about going into the last international break. Confidence had kind of been dented by the heavy defeat to Dortmund, but we're going in this time, hopefully ending it off on a really good note and just pick it up where we left off. That's the aim.
Couldn't have worded it better myself. Dylan, is there any chance you can see how long we are into the podcast?
49, it looks
49? 49? Jesus. Granted, we did kind of take a few minutes to start, so I didn't expect to be that
50 now.
that late in. Fucking hell. I don't think we've got a full time quiz anyway, so we'll kind of just wrap this segment up. Team predictions. Instead of asking who you think will start, I'm going to put out our team as it stands, and what I'm going to ask the two of you is, where would you like to maybe see any changes? So picture the starting 11 from Tuesday: Schmeichel, Johnston, Vickers, Trusty, Taylor, McGregor, Hitati, Engels, Kuhn, Kyogo, Maeda. Right, take that 11. Dylan, is there anybody you'd particularly like to see start the game on Sunday?
You said you didn't put Vickers in there, did you? No.
Did I say Scales and Trusty? I might say Vickers and Trusty.
Because I was going to say, I don't know about you, Phil, but I think, see, like when you're talking about injuries and that, maybe put Scales and Trusty back in just to keep Vickers.
That's not a bad shout.
I think that's a likely rotation,
Especially on that surface as well. I think that could be.
Can't afford to be losing Carter Vickers to
That's a really intelligent shout. Actually, I'm a big fan of that. Actually, is that the only one you'd maybe say?
I think so, aye, to be honest. I think
Any Bernardo, Idas, anything like that?
again, I thought Bernardo was brilliant with him on. I keep saying it, but I don't know. I think he'll just keep with that free because McGregor was just brilliant. Get the 3 points. I don't know, but I'd probably go Engels, McGregor, attack again. But he could switch it up to Bernardo for that softness.
Anywhere for you, Kieran? You've already expressed your desire for Valley, maybe on the left hand side.
I think that's one I could get behind, to be fair. But elsewhere in the park, I don't know if I don't think midfield should be touched, to be honest. But I mean, poor wee McCowan's been looking in for the sidelines again. He was playing really well, but
he is.
I don't know.
Competition's rife to get in a team. I don't think Luke McCowan will have any quarrels with that. He's living his dream. He's going to get plenty of opportunity. I mean, he couldn't do anything about last week. He's cup tied.
I forgot about that, actually.
I know. That's
I joked to you about that as well. I'm like, you should just predict him every time we're playing in this competition to say.
Didn't need to joke about it. We did it. Every single week. The final coming in. Like McCowan, can you get in? Maybe you get in it.
Bang out. Hat trick.
Kieran's getting corner. I've got McCowan on for the hat trick in the League Cup final. Aye, we'll see what happens. I'll get the score predictions off you. Dylan.
I'll say 3-0.
3-0. Ooh, confidential.
I'll go 3-1 again.
I went 3-1 at the weekend. We ended up winning 6-0. So I've got to double it. I'm going to go 6-2.
12 now.
I'm going to go Celtic for a 2-0 win. Clean, professional 2-0. What was the episode again? You were missing last week. I went. We were doing predictions for the cup semi, and I was Dylan score. And it was like 2-1. I was like, Kieran Auld might not be here in person, but he is here in spirit. Calum Craig 2-1. So for fuck's sake. But aye, there you go. There's your preview for the Killie game. Vast as always. As I load up the Twitter, I'm going to start letting one of you host this starting next week. But while I load it up, anybody got any interesting points for the week? About anything?
Fucking no.
No.
Just been working.
Just been working. What about you, Dylan? Anything?
I found out to see the cup final. It's my birthday, so that's going to be a fun wee birthday.
Aye.
Overtake him in trophies. Good birthday. Or it could be a bad birthday, but it shouldn't be.
Nah, I've got a good feeling about it. I think we'll save it for when that comes, but
Yeah, it's still a while.
it's not the way that we're going into that. Maybe the most confident I've ever been for a derby in my life, but that might change. We'll wait and see. What is the score with him, actually? They winning? Finished one each. Desser's big dessert scored. Right, Twitter questions. Are you ready, gentlemen? You touched on Adam's comment earlier. Adam kicks us off saying, Kieran, did you get a kebab pie on Tuesday? We now know the answer to that is no. Or were there none left like there was none in the 111 kiosks? An absolute farce. And I want answers from the supporters liaison officer, as it was the only thing I was looking forward to on Tuesday, and not the football. As well as this, what a win.
What a win indeed. And I'm sure John Paul Taylor's going to be getting a strongly worded tweet.
Mer kebab pies. Now, Cal, as always, is in. Nice to see you, Cal. Is it too early to talk about a contract renewal for Schmeichel? Yes, he might have turned 38 the other day, but he looks like he's enjoying himself. He's been outstanding, and I feel like he could go another season. Dylan, what would you say about that?
Aye, it'd be good to hopefully if Schmeichel had one more season in him. There's no reason why no, because like you've seen like people like Gordon that are still going, and Schmeichel just has been brilliant so far this season. So it's not as if the age plays a factor. So if it could happen, I would be happy to see it.
I don't think it's ever too early to start talking about it. I think if he wanted to sign one now, I'd hand him over the pen and paper.
See, I think that as well, but see, just thinking about it from a sort of business standpoint, you're probably better waiting until the end of the season, because it's at his age, he's hardly going to be inundated with offers. So, like, come the end of the season,
Never
so I think it'll be a decision that's maybe made in the second half of the season to assess then.
It's one thing we never got to talk about in today's episode, that the news of Alistair Johnson's contract, that looks imminent. He's going to be signing a bumper extension beyond the summer of 2027, that where he's currently. So we're talking a contract that might take him up to 2028, 2029, which is huge news. It's also begging the question about Greg Taylor's future, because there's been no word of his extension. So it looks as though we are getting into contract season, and we might hear something about Schmeichel soon, whether it's going to happen or it's not happening anytime soon. On that note, Alistair asked the question, would you give Rodgers a new deal right now? Which I would obviously give an outstanding yes to, in my side of things.
So I think you can't really give an argument against it, to be fair. I think the way we're playing the now, it sort of merits it. But what's his current?
It's at the end of this season. He has 1 year left.
You definitely need to
Get him down on a contract. 5-year deal, bumper, huge, millions, more money than fucking him that go hammer him at United.
Let's not spend all the club's money right now.
I'd give him the biggest contract in the club's history. I mean that genuinely. I would. I mean, he already is the guy with the biggest contract in the club's history, but an even bigger one now.
Boost his ego even more.
Of course, he's Tom Ford's are wearing out. He needs new ones, man.
Okay.
See you in a bit. Aidan says, do you think the board have learned their lesson and will try to keep the best players? Or if big offers coming in January, do you think they'll take it, Dylan?
I mean, I've seen people already talking about what we're going to sell Kuhn for, but I'd love to see Kuhn stay as long as possible. And I don't know, it's even things like that with Hatate and that, because he's been here a couple of years now, and I don't know, but hopefully we keep them all till the end of the season at least, and then we can regroup. But it'll be interesting to see how we play it this time.
Yeah, January's a window which Celtic rarely do. Big business like that. Anyway, the only notable January departures I can remember in recent times are Giacomakis leaving in the January window, Jeremy Frimpong, who left in the January window, but they weren't. I know Frimpong was a starting player. I'm not trying to rewrite history here, but those two weren't huge departures in the sense it wouldn't be the equivalent of losing like a Matt O'Reilly if he went in a January, or if Kyogo was to leave in January. You know, I don't think it has that same impact. I don't know if people agree with that. People love Giacomakis, but he ultimately was the second choice striker. Frimpong was a young right back who was also accompanied by a couple of other options. So as long as we keep them through January, it's something I don't think we should get too bogged down on just now.
You don't sell your best players in January.
No.
Nah, no chance.
It's like making a sub during a corner, innit? You just don't do it. You just don't do it. Teddy Bear Meltdown says, could we get the top 8 with our fixtures left? 3 winnable games, and Villa will probably be through. We kind of spoke on that. So thanks for the question anyway. Greg and Dyson enthusiast saying, with Johnson looking like he could get a new deal and no movement on Taylor, does it look more likely that this will be his last season at the club? If you were to answer right now, I'll just ask a simple yes and no for the two of you. Start with you, Dylan. Do you think Taylor will sign a new contract?
I don't think so. I mean, he's been here a while now anyway, Greg Taylor, and he's been absolutely brilliant because he came in for took care of Kieran Tierney, and it was a lot of pressure and expectations, but just the way it's going now, it doesn't seem like it, doesn't it?
Nah, I said this today in my video. I think that as the days trickle by, I'm leaning more on the side of I don't think he's re-signing. What about you?
I think this will be his last season at the club, and I don't know, I feel like left back has been the obvious thing to upgrade on for a couple of seasons now, and I don't know if the club are just sort of taking this as a chance to do it, because I mean, as good as Greg Taylor was under Ange, he was never going to move for big money. Like, it just was never going to happen. But I suppose that's another homegrown player for the quota away if he doesn't sign.
Him out, Lennon Miller in. I know it's not like for
I'm
like.
not positional. That's not really.
But in terms of the quota,
I see the vision now. Greg Taylor swap deal to Motherwell.
I think my ultimate opinion is Greg Taylor will want to move on if he can't be guaranteed that he's starting next season for Celtic. And I don't know how to word this. I don't mean to sound drastic. I think it's a bit of negligence on Celtic's side if they were to guarantee Greg Taylor the starting spot. It's the glaringly obvious position that's next to him.
Here's a question, but see, Taylor leaves on a free at the end of the season. Where do you think it goes? What's his level?
Cardiff City.
That's what I was thinking, because what age is he now?
27, something like that.
See, like, I genuinely, I couldn't see
Is he
him.
20? I just guessed. I'm a good guesstimator when it comes to
Like, I don't know where I see him going. Like, does he take the sort of...
He's 27, what a guess, huh?
Does he take a similar path to, I don't know, like... Were Bournemouth in the Championship when Ryan
Yes,
Christie
it was. They were.
went there? Is that a similar path he takes a tap?
Well, not Bournemouth now, but the same.
No,
yeah,
but
aye.
Probably, that's probably a good shout to be fair.
I can't see it.
Coventry City, there's my guess.
Fucking hell. They just sacked the manager.
Mark Robbins away.
But I genuinely don't know. There's one to think about.
Mid-table championship, I think it's like either that or he ends up at like Bonaventura or something like that. You know what I mean? Like just a pure bang average Italian team. Udinese or something. Like you can just see him somewhere like that.
Maybe follow his vision. I don't know.
Aye, they were good pals, weren't they? They went to each other's weddings and stuff there. Well, Taylor's wedding. Was Starfield there? I don't know, maybe I've made that up. Anyway,
You don't think about
Greg. I'm not thinking about either. I'm just big blonde Scandinavian.
Rang Scandinavian centre.
Bernardo Boy saying if we beat young boys, Zagreb and Bruges, we have some chance of finishing high up. That indeed. Arnold, what a name. Arnold saying, have you stopped hitting that glass table? I'm trying. Right. Right, this is a question. Liam, hello Kieran. Got a group question this week. It's asking for our celebrity crushes, which is an interesting one. He says, once again, Kieran, big fan, and thanks. Celebrity crush.
I mean, I feel like you have a new obsession with some celebrity every other week. I don't know. I don't know who it is this week. So enlighten us.
If my number one doesn't change, it's always going to be Cora Jade. Dylan, I know who Cora Jade is.
That's my pal Spider. You'll be buzzing with it.
Cora Jade's mine, mate. Cora Jade is like the one. I could see myself enjoying a lovely life where.
This isn't a Thunder Club, you know that.
If not her, then where I get the list.
It's got a top 10 in
No, if not her, then I don't know, because people don't know who Cora Jade is. They'd have to Google her. If not Cora Jade, then do you know who recently I've had a wee bit of a crush on? Ella Purnell. Don't know if you're familiar with her. She's up there nowadays, but Cora Jade mainly. What about yourself, Kieran? Marge Simpson.
Nah, Selma. I don't know. Like, I can't really think.
What about Lily James? You like her?
I was generally, that was the one I was thinking. Mate, go Lily James.
No.
I hope my birthdays do watch.
Sorry, I'm going to get a message after this. Tell me about you.
I think it's Liv Morgan.
Aye. She's up there.
Love her.
Nah,
she's watching.
big Celtic supporter. That's a good free. If you're not a wrestling fan, then you'll have to do your homework. But aye. Let's see a couple more. Joe says, not a question, but I want Ryan's full pronunciation of RB Leipzig's name.
Oh God.
What?
Go.
Rasenballspor Leipzig. What?
Shuddles, man.
How? That's how it's said.
Fucking Derek Ray wannabe, man.
My hero. Who do you think are the best and worst players at Celtic at the moment? Says Lewis. Worst, I think, a lot of people will be shouting Palmer. I can hear that, but
after his miss on Tuesday, Dies Maeda is simultaneously the best and worst player in the club.
And worst is probably, I don't know, like,
don't say like a youth player.
Oh, I know who my worst is. I'd feel to the fire what I was talking about last week. Probably Tony Ralston. I would go. Oh, Welsh actually. Welsh, I'd say.
One of the two for me.
Aye, and then best is like
Kuhn at the moment.
Aye, you could pick a number of players for best really. McGregor, Johnston, aye, Schmeichel. There's a few. We've answered that a number of times, so I'm going to skip that one just now. What's the most overrated and underrated song sang at the stadium?
I don't know if it's hanging, but see that like acoustic version, I just can't get enough the other night. I hated it.
I'm the same, by the way.
Like,
I put that in my survey. Remember the survey they done during the summer? I put, can we stop with the acoustic?
I might send them to Wonderbar. I don't want to hear it. But no, it's just like the only one that was somewhat getting it going a bit. What one was that again? But then they stopped themselves before they got to the bit where the crowd
graffiti on the wall, and then they just
repeated it again. That's official club orders right there.
Exactly.
But I don't know. I just feel like that in itself, it could be the best song. It just kind of gets ruined, and it's hard for the whole crowd to pick it up. And I get it's good intentions to try and get the atmosphere going before the game, but it clearly doesn't work.
Nah. I agree. You know my opinions. I tell you every time. And then a couple to finish off on, because I'm quite weary of time. What do you think is this is a good one? The most overrated. Now the question is most overrated takeaway, right? But like just not necessarily. It doesn't have to be a takeaway. It could be like a fucking fast food place. It could be anywhere that you would eat. Just most overrated. The one that I don't know if overrated is the right word, but I've always been on the hill that I don't think KFC is that good at all, and I hate how popular KFC is in the world because I think it's generally quite shit. So that's maybe my answer. But
I like a KFC, but I rarely get one. If I do get one, it's maybe a bit of popcorn chicken and a flaming wrap.
Aye.
But I'm trying to think of other places that I think are like severely
You got
overrated.
any
Like,
answers, Dylan?
I think I'd probably say Five Guys. Like,
Oh, right,
it's
okay.
more just because it's not that I don't like it. It's just like
that's a decent shout.
with the
there.
price and that, it's just not that good. But it's good, but it's no just.
It's
like,
no
it's just no off the head,
£25,
man.
aye.
I'll tell you what is overrated. Now, probably like a lot of people love it, but I don't get it. Like, I've only been a couple of times, but maybe it's improving quality. Pisano.
You know what? Not a bad shout.
It's not that I dislike that style of pizza. I like it, but I just don't like theirs. Like the
Yeah.
times I got it, it's just.
I was like, I had it and I was like, it was alright.
Oh, maybe we'll talk about it at Thunder Club, but the fucking quality of the food in Milan was.
We need to get your
angers
inside.
me.
Need to get your insider from Milan. The last one that I'll give a shout to is, and I've been quite audible on this in the past. Pepe's. I think that's overrated. Never had a good Pepe's.
I've never had one.
Don't like it.
Pepe's is pretty. Nah.
Nah, and people either love it or hate it. But the people that love it insist it's better than Nando's, Blackrist, better than them all. I don't see how. I don't. And that goes to the people here as well, I know that. Anyway, and get anyone who can play the guitar so far away from Parker's, so far to fuck from Parker's, says Lennon.
Even the season ticket holders. I'll just try to watch the game. You can play the guitar, you can fuck off.
No risking you getting put on that topic. And that's the questions for this week. So thank you as always, ladies and gents. We will be taking more questions in the Thunder Club recording straight after this. So if you haven't become a channel member and you want to hear that, then you know where to go. Down below, top link in the description or the join button. But for the main episode this week, that is it. I'd like to say a big thank you to my co-hosts. Dylan, cheers for joining.
Pleasure, right? Pleasure.
Kieran,
Good to be back.
good to be back. And I don't think we'll be in next week because it's international break. If anything big happens, who knows? We might have an emergency meeting, but I don't.
Emergency podcast.
I don't
There's
think.
the big blues.
I don't think anything should be happening to call for that. So yeah, if we're not here next week, we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Until whenever that is, take care of yourselves, enjoy, and we'll see you all later.